For over 15 years, leading rotoscoping and paint software, Silhouette, has played a major role in Hollywood's biggest films and television shows. Now Boris Effects introduces Silhouette 2022, a milestone release bringing full-blown compositing features and a staggering amount of new effects filters. Silhouette 2022 is simply packed with new features for visual effects compositing with over 400 nodes. Top Boris Effects plugins Sapphire, Mocha Pro, and select continuum filters are included to make one integrated node-based compositing package. Silhouette delivers unbeatable value to professional VFX artists. By providing the best tools for roto, paint and compositing in a single color-managed environment, Silhouette 2022 brings new workflows for finishing final shots. Silhouette now comes with Sapphire, the award-winning collection of effect filters. Over 270 new nodes containing the industry's favorite lens flares, glows and blurs, plus new effects like Ultra Glow and Ultra Zap. Sapphire is the go-to package for film and television work. And with Sapphire nodes integrated into the roto prep stage, an effects artist can now work on assets in context to the final stylized shot. Academy Award-winning Mocha Pro is now a standard feature in Silhouette 2022, bringing an improved bridge between Mocha and Silhouette tasks. Work with Mocha Pro directly inside Silhouette for advanced planar tracking, image stabilization, and power mesh tracking. Then take advantage of the data without leaving your Silhouette interface. Generate track and shape data from the new node actions. Or leverage Mocha's data through the new data port into compatible nodes. Add the new Power Mesh Warp node for organic mesh-tracked objects. This reverse warp stabilized view brings streamlined workflows for tricky paint, cleanup, patches, and inserts. The new surface tracking interface adds Mocha-like precision to the Silhouette tracker for greater usability, especially when combined with the updated DoD. Link the surface to crop the viewer for fast composite previews. Particle Illusion allows for realistic particle simulations directly inside Silhouette. Complete with a massive preset library, 3D emitters, and fluid dynamics, Particle Illusion allows for environmental effects like dust, smoke, and fire, or even graphical elements, including head-up displays. Particle Illusion is just one of a curated selection of effect nodes from the renowned Boris Effects Continuum package. Other notable effects include Magic Sharp, Beauty Studio, and Video Glitch. Silhouette 2022 builds on its paint and rotoscoping reputation with focused tools developed for the industry's most demanding artists. The new In-Paint node can intelligently remove unwanted pixels using data from the surrounding image. Remove objects and clean up areas without the need for manual paint. In-Paint is driven by the familiar Silhouette Roto and tracking tools. It features fine parameter controls and even lets you bring back data using an external data separation input. Use this node for beauty, cleanup, and object and wire removal. Under the hood, Silhouette 2022 has been updated with features to improve performance and color management. Apple's M1 is now supported natively to give speed boosts on the newest Mac silicon hardware. And Silhouette has been updated to Open Color I/O v2 for better color management, offering GPU rendering and improved ACES support for color managed workflows. Silhouette 2022 is a feature-rich compositing system, available as a standalone application or as a multi-host plugin supporting Adobe and OFX hosts. Find out for yourself why it's the go-to tool for VFX professionals. For full technical information, to learn about our flexible licensing options, or to download a free trial, head over to boriseffects.com.
Welcome to Boris Effects Live, sponsored by Dell Precision Workstations, create without limits, and by NVIDIA and Intel.
Hello, hello, and welcome to Boris FX Live. My name is Ben Brownlee, and we're going to be showing you a lot of new stuff in Silhouette 2022 today. It's going to be a big update. We have got a lot to show you today, and it's going to be a bit of a special one because I will be sitting here behind the pen and tablet today, actually doing some work rather than talking to people who do the work normally. I'll be joined by Ross Shane, the Chief Product Officer, who will be helping me out as well. And we're going to be going through some of the big issues with, or the big new stuff with Silhouette 2022, including the new VFX nodes from Sapphire, some of the new integration with Mocha Pro, and of course, looking at the core Roto and Paint updates as well. So there's a lot to get through. And because we're live, as you can probably tell, we are wanting to hear from you. So there's a number of different ways that you can get involved. If you are watching on YouTube or on borisfxlive.com, then we want to hear your questions over in the chat window over on the right hand side of the viewer. If you are on borisfxlive.com, I also want you to scroll down to the bottom of the screen and join in our competition, because you could be winning a copy of Sapphire 2022 or one of the copies of the Boris FX suite, which we'll be talking about in just a few moments. So yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, head on over to borisfxlive.com, scroll down to the bottom, and you have a chance to win there. Full terms and conditions are available on the website. Okie dokie. I want to also say thank you very much to our sponsors, to NVIDIA, Dell, and Intel, of course, for helping to make these live streams happen. We are very, very happy to have them as sponsors, especially the Dell Precision 3660 tower. It's cost-effective, scalable performance in a mini tower design. Dell Technologies, Precision 3660. It's a tower. There we go. Okay. There are some gremlins happening in the system at the moment, which is why I'm stumbling over words and wearing these my big earphones again. So so if anything goes wrong today, it is the gremlins' fault, and definitely not me. Definitely not me. All right. Have I forgotten anything, Brian? Just I'm just going to read what's on the auto cue. Yeah, I've absolutely got an auto cue.
Did we go over the prizes? Did I miss the prize slides? Or
No, I think I skipped the prizes.
Yeah,
or
let's-
I talked about them, and then we didn't have the slides. Let's bring some. You've made such nice slides. Let's have a look at the prize slide, shall we? What could you win today? Yes, well, if you go to borisfxlive.com and enter today's giveaway, you could win an annual subscription of Silhouette. Yes, that is a $795 value prize, and that's going to one lucky winner today. But we've also got another prize coming up, which is the Boris FX suite. So that is everything that we make, including Silhouette, Sapphire, Mocha Pro, Continuum, and of course Optics. That is an annual subscription going across to one lucky person as well. So head on over to borisfxlive.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and enter now. Alrighty. I'm going to bring in my my co-host today, which is going to be Ross Shane. Hello, Ross. How are you today?
Hey Ben, I'm doing great and happy to be joining you on this live stream today.
I'm very honestly, I'm very, very happy to have you with me. Not just as someone who can skate and paper over all of my little fumbles that are going on, but also someone who knows the product very, very well and can help answer questions that people have.
Yeah, no, I think I give you a lot of credit for hosting these shows just in general. It's quite a lot of work, and obviously Brian's doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But I'm psyched to also see your presentation.
Oh yeah, it's going to be. We've got a lot of stuff to cover actually, and unless there's anything else, I think we should get to it. So I mean, you've got a few words to to talk about Silhouette to begin with, just to kick things off, and then we can have a look at some stuff in action.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Ben. So, I hate to do the sort of PowerPoint kind of thing, but we have a couple of slides because really I just wanted to. I know there's probably some people who tune into the Boris Effects live episodes and that might not necessarily be aware of Silhouette as a product or its history. So I just thought I'd kind of give you a little bit of an introduction before we go into Ben's presentation. So, Silhouette was basically the first application to really focus on the rotoscoping task. I'm sure everyone here knows about rotoscoping. And Silhouette was a small company formed by some very, very talented guys that I had worked cross paths with very early in my career at Avid. But in 2005, the team created Silhouette. And the goal of that product was really to create a premier application for rotoscoping, for cutting masks. And if we think about what was happening in the industry at the time, I mean, people were using things like Flame, maybe Shake, maybe After Effects, Combustion, Commotion. There were a lot of tools out there for cutting masks, for doing rotoscoping work, but there wasn't anything for dedicated rotoscoping. And if we think about the time, really, the industry, the kinds of films and projects were really demanding, tons and tons of shots require rotoscoping. And over the years, Silhouette has become the standard tool for rotoscoping and for paint teams. The product itself has been recognized multiple times by various industry awards. Team won the Academy Award, and also a couple of years ago won an Emmy Award. And Boris Effects basically merged with Silhouette in 2019. Happily have the original, inventors and designers, product people from Silhouette or with Boris Effects. Actually, sorry that Marco Pallini, who's the product manager, can't join us today because of this past release, this past couple of weeks. He's taken a much needed vacation. But Paul Miller is here in the chat, and he's going to be happy to answer questions. So if we go to the next slide, Brian, just want to mention, again, Silhouette's been used over time on countless really, really important movies. And I kind of consider it sort of the unsung hero of the visual effects tool history. The tool has been used on every kind of big feature film you can think of that had notable effects, from Avatar all the way up to, today's Marvel TV shows like Miss Marvel. So it's just kind of cool to see that this product has evolved over time and created a user base that's very committed to using the product. And it's really widely adopted also by many visual effects studios. So Brian, if you want to just point to the next slide, just kind of quickly talk about, whether it's Leica or Weta or ILM or all the various companies across the globe who are using Silhouette. We really appreciate their support. And what's very interesting too is there's a whole other side of this kind of visual effects workflows where we have roto outsourcing teams in places like India or in Asia that you can basically just send them your footage, and get the next day or get very quickly, you can get Silhouette projects back from these companies that specialize in rotoscoping and masking. So if you go to the next slide, Brian, just kind of, again, don't want to belabor the PowerPoint today, but just kind of want to talk about the product itself. And again, Silhouette, what puts it on the map is best of breed rotoscoping tools. There's a very evolved paint system, which Ben is probably going to touch on in his demo. And really, the software over the years has been used for rotoscoping, for paint, and what we call invisible effects, or fixing it in post, cleaning up shots, removing objects, doing all the kinds of things that is necessary for professional film and TV. Again, Ben's going to cover some of this stuff. When Mocha, which everyone here probably knows, that is our planar tracking system, Mocha's been inside Silhouette for quite a long time. But we are actually in this release, this 2022 release, we've included the full-blown Mocha Pro. So that's really exciting. Every license of Silhouette now includes Mocha Pro. Silhouette, it's a standalone application, runs on Mac, Windows, and Linux. It comes as a plugin. In 2 years ago, basically Silhouette 2020 shipped with a plugin option, and that plugin is standard if you buy the full Silhouette standalone application, or you could also buy just the plugin on its own, and that supports a bunch of different hosts. So, Brian, if you don't mind jumping to the next slide, I'm just going to talk a little bit about what is in this new version, and then I'm going to turn it over to Ben. But I mentioned Mocha Pro. The full node is full Mocha Pro with power mesh, with stabilization, with mega plates. All the cool features in Mocha Pro are now standard, and they come inside Silhouette as a Mocha Pro node. We've also included Sapphire, which is our flagship visual effects plugin collection. You get over 270 new filters. We've included particles. New particle illusion is a node now inside of Silhouette. We've also included some of the best continuum filters, some of my favorites like Magic Sharp and Beauty Studio. These are also contained inside of every version of Silhouette. So lots of new nodes, lots of improvements. And if we just keep going on to the next slide, Brian, other things you're going to see from Ben, we're going to see this in-paint node, which was actually a feature that some of our biggest, most important partnerships with various visual effects studios, they asked for this in-paint node, and we're happy to deliver on that. We have some really exciting new tracking workflows, and the relationship between Silhouette and Mocha has just gotten so much stronger, and that's a really cool thing for a lot of users. And I mentioned the power mesh. I think Ben's going to cover the Mocha Pro power mesh and the relationship of how that works with Silhouette and a new power mesh node. And lastly, we've also just made the product better with supporting Apple M1 for speed. We also updated the OCIO support, so you're going to get better support for ACEs, GPU acceleration on your color management, things like that. Last thing to mention is Silhouette is part of the Boris FX suite. So we do have that top level product, which is the Boris FX suite. And with that one subscription, you have access to all our products. So hopefully that was not too boring for you as you see these slides, but I want to turn it back to Ben, who's going to show you some more visual, exciting eye candy. And thanks for joining us.
Well, everyone loves slides, Ross. Come on.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, everyone loves your slides. I think that's it. But
yeah, they're quite creative.
They are. Should we have a look at some of the stuff that you've been talking about then? Let's do it. Right. Let's see if I can cut to the right screen here. I think this is the right one. Here we go. All right. So let's take a little look now. We're in Silhouette 2022 now, and if you haven't seen Silhouette for a while, then you're going to be in for a bit of a treat, because like the Silhouette as a product has changed in such a huge number of different ways over the last few years. Like the core paint and roto is still there. It's built off of these world class and industry leading paint and roto tools, but it's also expanded out a bit as well into a 2D compositor basically, and with the introduction of the new nodes that we have, including Sapphire and some of the new native Silhouette nodes that we're going to be talking about in a little bit, that positions Silhouette as a much more of a sort of one-stop shop for a certain type of shot. You can actually be finishing shots within Silhouette rather than just using them as stepping stones to come in to send off for other people to finish. So it's not necessarily just another stop on the line. This could be your final stop with regards to some of the VFX work. We're not gonna let's actually just I'll zoom out on this. This is a tree that probably looks a little bit more impressive than it actually is, but it's just sort of splitting lots of little different tasks into different areas and then bringing them all back together again. Let's have a little look at how we can start to work with some of this in a cut down version. Now, as Ross said, Mocha Pro now plays an even bigger part inside Silhouette than it did previously. I mean, we've had inside of the Roto node, and in fact any node where you could be drawing with shapes. We've had Mocha as an integrated tracker for very many years now. But the introduction of Mocha Pro as a node on its own, as a node that could be used directly inside of Silhouette, that's happened a few versions ago. And as Mocha Pro has grown and as Silhouette has grown, the conversation between those two programs has also grown as well. And we'll actually, let's come into Mocha here and just actually see how that works out. Because there is like like now that Silhouette and Mocha are all under the Boris Effects roof. There we go. Yeah, now they're all under the same roof. There's even more opportunities to come and have cross-pollination of ideas and build things a lot closer than ever before. And so when we have some of the more advanced Mocha modules, such as Lens or Mega Plates or the Mesh Warp that we can actually see in a second, those the ability to bring data back and forth between these two is now much more smooth and even simpler than previously. But let's have a look at Mesh Warp, because I think Mesh Warp was one of the most interesting features that came out in Mocha Pro 2021, I believe. Is it really 2021? Maybe. Ross, help me out on that. Is it 2021?
Yeah, that's right. Mocha Pro came out in 2021, and then we've updated it with some significant things in 2022.
That's right. So with the Mesh Warp, what essentially is happening is it's taking or going beyond the planar tracker that we had, that Mocha has built its reputation on, and it lets you come in and make sort of subplanar tracking as well. So let's get this mesh size a little bit more reasonable, shall we? And so it's sort of breaking up our shape into lots of different meshes. Let's just color code this so we can see this a bit better. And so instead of just tracking like the whole body area as one, we can actually come in and track this area as a mesh, and that's going to give us a lot more options for doing paint work or even roto work as well, directly within this track. So I'll come in here. I can do things like this is just sort of building up the initial track, but if I wanted to come in and make changes to this mesh as well, we can always do that. You do have the ability to come in and change the mesh up to make it more or less detailed as you need it. But we'll just leave that as it is. I will call this one, what will I call this one? I'll call this one body mesh. There we go. And one of the nice things about Mocha is, of course, we can track multiple things simultaneously. So if I make another, should I have a mesh for the head? Yeah, let's have a mesh for the head. Why not? There we go. So let's come in, bring a mesh for the head. Just make this a little bit smaller now so it fits in a wee bit better. There we go. Cool. And I'm not, obviously not being amazingly precise about what's going on. In fact, if I don't want to see the mesh there, I can turn the mesh off. It's probably a bit easier. And I will call this one face. Let's call this face mesh because it's very creative like that. And we can see that, you know, the core Mocha stuff works. So the face is above the body. So we've got a track mat. It's going to be cutting that stuff out. Let's build up the smoothness there, and we'll just track things forwards. In fact, I'll turn the mesh overlay on as we track this forwards, because that's always kind of nice to see. So what this is doing is it's coming in and it's using the a combination of the movement within the subplanar areas and the movement within the planar area itself to kind of come in and make this you know, really nice stable mesh, and it's processing this through nice and fast. I mean, we're working at Ultra HD resolution on this because I always think it's a fantastic idea to work with larger resolution media when doing live presentations. Definitely never got me into any trouble there. But as well as doing the mesh warp, it's also warping in the, hang on a sec, you can see that as well. It's also warping in the shape here. So we can be using this mesh tracking to help us out with some of the roto work as well, to mean that we have to do less manual roto. Okay, so let's just save that, and I'll come out here because my work in Mocha is done. I'm happy with that track. I'm so confident I'm not even checking it. Let's see in 3 minutes if that's going to bite me. Okay, so previously, when we wanted to get the data out of Mocha, we would have to, you know, copy and paste shape data or tracking data, and it was just a sort of export from Mocha, copy it to the clipboard, paste it into Silhouette. We don't have to do that anymore. The data port that we have, this yellow port on the outside here, now contains all the information that we need to get out of Mocha. Unless we wanted to use one of the module renders, which we can still do down here. You know, if we wanted to render out a stabilize or something, or remove, we can do that still within the module renders. But for stuff like the power mesh, we don't have to render that through the Mocha node anymore. We can come in with our new power mesh node. Let's just connect these up. Thank you very much. And I can select the mesh that I want to use. So I can either use the body mesh or the face mesh down here. And we'll choose an unwarp. And let's just play that back. Excellent. That's just working. And so now that's stabilized out the body from where we tracked it. Now, maybe I don't want to track it from the first frame. Maybe I want to take it from like a different frame. Let's take, I don't know, a random frame just before it goes off the screen, maybe frame 25. If I wanted to change that, and so have all of our work, you know, based off of frame 25, that's really easy to do. All I have to do is come into my body mesh back in Mocha and set my frame list to frame 25 in here. And now that's one way of making sure that is our reference frame. And so now everything is based off of that there. And I can stabilize that. Yeah, stabilize it around the body, or if you want to stabilize it around the face, stabilize around there. I actually only found this out by accident, but this has turned into my favorite image of this presentation is Mr. Tiny Headman and giant chest. Hello. It appears it's only me that's ever tickled by that, but I bring it up every single time because I love it. I think it's absolutely hilarious. But that doesn't help us. Let's turn this off here. There we go. Right. We'll come back to this in a second. Okay, but the data port isn't the only way of taking out the Mocha data from our Mocha node. in Silhouette 2022, we also have these things called node actions. So if I click on the dots down here, I can actually copy the data from my Mocha node to paste other places, or I can create a roto node or create a tracker node. So if I create a roto node up here, this is going to make a brand new roto node for us. Let's just pipe that in there instead. And it's going to bring in with our mesh and our shapes and our mesh and our shapes there. And if this was just like a regular shape, you know, we'd only have the Mocha keyframes in here, but we've got the mesh helping us out a little bit there as well. And we can do all the things, the normal things that we could do with this here. So we could just, you know, stabilize, do a regular stabilize using our chest track. So if we wanted to do a roto based off of this, you know, obviously that's a lot easier with a stabilized viewer. There we go. So bringing this together, let's have a quick idea with this one. Maybe let's take our power mesh warp. Let's bring this back in here, and I'm going to pipe this into my main. There we go, my main tree over here. So let's take a quick look at what we've got going on. I've actually got a couple of ultra zaps in here building up. So this is Sapphire's ultra zap. So the fact that I now have all of the Sapphire nodes built directly into my standalone version of Silhouette is an absolute godsend. So we can do lots of lots of fun little bits. Let's embossing and stuff. Let's have a little look what happens when we bring this in. So this is now going to composite the ultra zap into my stabilized chest. So this isn't sitting in exactly where we want it. So let's come in. I'm going to add in a transform node up at the top. Actually, let's pipe my ultra zap in here, pipe that in there. Could have just stuck it in the middle, but there we go. And let's just flip this around 180 degrees. There we go. That's going to fit in a bit nicer. Let's have a look, see how that is fitting in. Not bad. Let's bring this over. So we can sort of bring that over nice and interactively and sort of see how that's going to work out. And then what we'll do is we'll take another copy of the Power Mesh Warp, feed our Mocha back into it. Where's my Mocha? It's what happens when you work at a slightly smaller resolution than you're used to. You have to sort of hunt and peck a little bit more. So now for the Power Mesh Warp, what I want to do is I want to take the body, warp that back into place. And so now I'm going to get my mesh sort of stuck to the body. And because I've got my roto here as well, if we just comp that together, let's use composite, stick that in the front, drop another line down here. Blump, and that's going in there, and we'll take this out from the roto, and that's going to bring that in a nice sort of way. We can even, you know, play this what's it called, you know, fiddle with this a little bit more, play around with this a little bit more, but you know, that's the sort of, you know, general idea with the sorting out a you know, a sort of warp stabilized workflow. So we sort of stabilize it up, then destabilize it. So reverse stabilization again. And with that, we can come in and make some, you know, slightly bigger effects just using that same idea. Cool. We're going to move on to another shot. But before we do that, I'm going to ask if there are any questions from the chat so far. Let me just cut over to myself while I set myself up for the next shot.
Hey, Ben, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, there
I
we go.
can.
Okay, great. Yeah, no, very cool example. And also, it's really cool to start showing people how the Mocha team and Silhouette team are really it's one team these days, right? So being able to
Yep.
pipe data through a node tree, tracking data, power mesh data, roto data. Lots of really cool things are coming in this release. There's not really that many questions, but
It re-
go ahead.
Oh, carry on.
Okay, there's not that many questions from the chat so far, but someone was asking when you set up your power mesh shape that you were a little bit loose around the character, and the
Yeah.
person wisely noted that power mesh is pretty sensitive, right? So it's not always like tracking with Mocha where you kind of tend to be looser.
No, that's right. And I think the reason that I always like one of the things that I like to do with the power mesh is my initial shape when I'm when I'm creating the mesh, the initial shape is always going to be a little bit bigger than the ultimately the shape that I want to do. Because what I like to have is I like to have a sort of a little bit of border of mesh that's outside of the shape, because it means that when we do the actual tracking in there, and do that sort of reverse stabilized workflow, I'm going to use the roto that I generate up from that shape, that that nice tight roto, to actually limit the mesh. So it just means that I don't get tearing on the edges as much. I'm sort of protecting myself with a little border of mesh around there, and then limiting that afterwards with the roto. And that's just a sort of technique that has always worked for me, and I do like to recommend it to people as well. Definitely to start trying it as well. But you're right. If you have mesh that is power mesh areas that are actually inside that shape, that sort of stretch out into the background, that is is going to cause you problems a little bit later, because anything that's inside the shape is going to try to be tracked with a lot of precision. Anything that's outside of the shape, any of those little segments outside of the shape, is going to use the main planar tracking data to drive it. And there are other ways that we can help to control and sort of smooth some of that stuff out. But that's the that's the easiest way to do it right from the very start.
Yeah, that is actually, sort of the last thing you said is actually an interesting point, because having the ability to really adjust the vertice points and use multiple masks, I think that the Power Mesh Tracker is very versatile. And some people might be
Yeah.
seeing this for the first time, and this is not like an optical flow vector kind of tracker. It really is a subplanar tracker. So there's certain kinds of shots that this is very, very effective for tracking organic surfaces.
Yeah.
Let's see,
And
Ben.
it's
Uh,
a comparatively fast tracker as well, which is always good when you're sat there having to make shots.
that's right. A couple other questions from the chat, and I think we'll probably just get to this sort of naturally as you continue your presentation. But what's the difference or advantages between Mocha and Silhouette? Well, I think you're going to see. I think the users are going to see the node graph and the paint and all the advanced
Yeah.
features. Whereas Mocha really is, planar tracking, rotoscoping, object removal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're going to be taking a good look at some of those things in a little moment as well. So I think
One last
should we oh yes, let's go.
Yeah, so we
Last
do have
question.
like I think about a 5 second delay. So I'll try not to talk over you. One last question, just want to answer in the chat was is there any difference between the plugin and the standalone application of Silhouette? And essentially it's really get all the features, but I would like to point out that now that Silhouette is packed with all the add-ons, with Sapphire and with some of the Continuum nodes and Mocha Pro, that the plug-in version of Silhouette does not include all those other add-on nodes. It does include the Mocha Pro node, so that's very cool. But it starts getting a little bit of a Pandora's box with the plugins inside of a plugin inside of a plugin. So basically, that's one of the reasons why the plug-in version of Silhouette doesn't include the Sapphire or the Continuum particle illusion stuff.
Yeah, but it does, it does have the new, native Silhouette nodes in there inside the
Yes,
plugin, and that
that's correct.
we'll chat about some of those as well towards in the sort of third shot, I think, third section. Cool. Let's have a little cut back now to my screen. I've got another shot up here. Like one of the things that you mentioned in your initial talk, Ross, was the OCIO V2 support that Silhouette 2022 now has, and that sort of just leads me naturally on to looking at how that works in practice. We have a display options, and we can come in and sort of have different role-based color spaces that we're working in, and color space transforms. So we've got the viewer in either sRGB or Rec 709, and our format coming in at various different color spaces here as well. One of the things we'll see, actually, let's just move that to sRGB. One of the things we can also do is we can also import our own LUTs to work with as well. So this could be part of an ACES workflow, for example. We can also use this in a sort of more creative way when we look at Paint. I think if we get a chance, I'll show you some of this in a second with Paint. But yeah, it's just really useful to have a sort of just a viewer, a sort of viewer adjustments when we're coming in here. And this is anything we do in the viewer up here doesn't affect what happens in our actual nodes. So we're not really changing the color, we're just changing what we can see in the viewer. So this has helped me out a lot when I've needed to do roto of fine hair details, for example. Being able to actually pick those out and see those very easily using the display options has been it's been really handy. So let's just come over here. All right, so this is the this is our next shot. I probably should have just cached the clip in while I was talking, but here's the next shot anyway. And what we're going to do in this one is start to develop this shot a little bit and show you how using some of these compositing features can actually help out people who are doing the roto work to see how shots are going to look in context. So we're going to take this shot from here, and we're probably not going to take all the way to here, in the next 10 minutes. But I'm going to show you how we can do some of this, insert work, and how we can start to combine it with our roto work as well. Okay, so I've got Mocha already done in here. Let's just load this back up. I'm not going to do any work in Mocha, actually. Let's just zoom this out just so we can see the whole thing. Yeah, I'm not going to do any work in Mocha because I have already done it. Let's just reset this, shall we? What's this going to be? 38, hang on, 19, 20, 38, 40, or is that going to be 0? It's going to be 0, isn't it, Ben? There we go. Excellent. Yeah, so I've got my tracks I've got in here, and you can see the tracks themselves are for the different parts of the book. So we've got the first part of the book, which I've called Book Back 1. I've got the second part of the book, which is a few frames over here, very tricky, which I've called Book Back 2. And unsurprisingly, the third bit of the book I have called Book Back 3. This was really, really fun to track. And I did it with the help of these. Let's move my book back front up the top there. Yeah, I did it with the help of, these little track mats here. Let's have a little show of that. So we've got, a few little layers to work with, or that I've worked with in Mocha, I should say. And I'm going to do a similar thing to what I did previously. I'm actually going to create a tracker node in this case. And I'm going to take the tracker node from my Mocha Pro node. I'm just going to clean up my graph a little bit. I like to do this. If you hit Alt or Option and click anywhere in a in between a line, or in between two nodes on a line, you create little dot nodes, so you can lay out your lay out your tree a little bit easier, or a little bit more neatly. That's the word I'm looking for. But in the tracker here, like all of the track mat stuff all of those layers I can just get rid of, because I'm not interested in those at all. So, I mean, we've been talking about the cross-pollination of ideas between Mocha and Silhouette, and how the teams are really working together now. There's one idea, or one concept, I should say, that has now made the jump from Mocha Pro into Silhouette, and that's the concept of the surface. Now, if you know about the let's come over here, actually look at book 1 here. Yeah, if you know about the surface in Mocha, the surface is where Mocha keeps all of its tracking data, basically. So it's a visual representation of the tracking data. It's where we place our 4 corner points. Previously, Silhouette didn't have a surface. What it would do is it would put that tracking data inside the matrix here, which is what you could see, and that would be the thing that would drive the drive the transformations. So now we can come in. Let's just turn off all of this other thing, all of these other layers that I don't need, and just look at this surface. Because now with the surface, what I can do is I can place these corners where I want. Oops, not there. Let's move that around. Yeah, I can place these corners in the same way that I could do in Mocha. So use them as the 4 corner points there. So let's just make sure. I'll take the extra couple of seconds it's going to take just to get these pretty much in place. There we go. Lovely. And now when it comes to match moving our book cover into the background, the concept of the surface is going to make that a lot more straightforward. So if I come in, I'm going to come into transform and just add a transform onto my book cover back. And let's bring in the data node from the tracker into the transform. I'll just neaten things up. Let's just have it hanging here. Actually, I can't with that one. Let's just leave that where it is then. And what I can do now with the transform is I can choose what mode we're going to use. Now, previously, we had match move or stabilize, and match move would do the match moving, stabilize would inverse that or do an inverse of that and stabilize the shot up. But now we have insert as well. So if I choose my surface, which would be book back 1, that's going to drive the surface inside of there. Now this looks a little bit weird. There's a good reason for that. And it's if anyone's any Mocha users out there will know immediately what the reason is for this. And that's because when I'm doing any sort of insert like this using like the Mocha surface data, that I want my insert to actually be, or the layer I'm inserting to actually be the same size, the same resolution as the background layer. And this is the same. Now we're using that same concept. We have to do the same thing. If I was just using match move, I wouldn't have to. I could just move it into place. But I'm going to stick a resize in here, and I'm going to remember that Ultra HD is 3840 by 2160. And then when I come back into my composite here, we have a look at that. Everything should sit in really nicely, exactly where I need it to. And it does. There we go. Cool. So in the transform here, we can turn on our motion blur, set that up how we need it. So that's gonna fit in where we need it to as well. Very nice. Okay, so if I so that's compositing over pretty nicely. I want to show you one more thing that we can do with this you know, the tracker data, or the data that we get out of the data port here. And that's to do this other node called a DoD. And I'm just going to bring this in here for a second. Let's just hook that into the tracker. There we go. And what I can do with the DoD here, DoD stands for domain of definition. So it's a way of you know, limiting the size of an area. If we want to do that, to sort of, you know, maximize how much you know, how we're using our RAM. So with the DoD here, I can take a layer that we have from our data port. I can pipe that into the DoD, and I can automatically focus our area based off of this, you know, based off of this area that we've got tracked in. So this is exceedingly handy when we're doing roto or paint on a you know, a smaller part of the image, on a particular part of the image, because in this case we actually only need to you know, really render out and think about a much smaller percentage of pixels than we were before. So this is, you know, a very nice way of speeding up your workflow when it comes through here. It's actually quite a sort of a big concept when you first you know, when you first meet it, but it's actually you know, an exceedingly handy one, especially if you're working, as well, resolutions are getting bigger. You know, the what you're asking of the system and what you're asking from your RAM cache is you know, gets greater and greater. So being able to work faster is always good. We're gonna come back to this in just a second, because I want to show you over here that the core you know, the core tools, the core roto tools that we have in Silhouette are still there. You know, if there's a very good reason why Silhouette is chosen as the, you know, as the rotoscoping tool of choice by you know, industry professionals. And the big reason is, once you have rotoscoped in Silhouette, you don't really want to go back and rotoscope anywhere else, because, you know, this is really where the you know, where the foundations of the software came from. And so there's so much you know, thought and care that's been put into this process. You know, it's really you see it straight away. So little things like, actually, like we saw on the like we saw earlier, I can stabilize out the viewer onto any of the layers that I have here. So if I come into right hand, actually, where hands front book, let's see anything here. Let's hold in roto. There we go. Let's do that one. So we can see if we were trying to, really focus on the hand here, we've actually got, a very close-up view of the hand, and I stabilized version of, stabilized area of the hand that we can be working on. Similarly with book 3, I actually think book 3 is probably only a few frames long, so that's not going to show us anything too much there. But we can do, let's just get rid of all of this stuff, but we can do some exceptionally interesting and complex roto right there, and we know that it's going to be absolutely perfect, and we know it's going to be isolating exactly the area that we need it to. So let's just see how this is going to work in context. So what I'll do here is, let's just come over. I've got my composite over here. Let's pipe that in here. Let's see what we get. And we get this. This is interesting. Okay. And the reason it's doing this is because of actually the reverse problem of what we were going with the DoD previously. So when we're bringing this in, it's actually, focused our area into this sort of smaller area here. So if I put a DoD right in, not there because we don't need it there. Let's get rid of that. Come on, Ben. Thank you. If I put it in between there, which is where we actually need it, I can happily just crash my system. Let's try again. Bring that back in, and we're up and running again. Yeah, so if I bring this in, I might have to just do the resize. There we go. We're back up and running. 3840, 2160, all these things going around my head. There we go. And let's do these inserts with book 1. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, so if I put a DoD now, you can see actually on the transform we've got just the isolated pixels there. If I bring a DoD underneath here, and let's use one of our little presets just to bring it out here. Now when I composite this together, so we'll just use a composite. Thank you very much. And we'll drop that down in there. Thank you. And we will take you out into there. Maybe it's you. Maybe I'm just using the wrong node. This could easily be. What I might want to do here is invert. Hang on. Let's see what I've done over here. It's always fun. Yeah, there we go. Now I've got it right. Here we go. I've done one. I can see exactly what I've done. I've done one DoD too few. I needed to dump another DoD in there. There we go. So that's this area here, which we're then comping in, and then comping down to the bottom. Where's me? There we go. There's the final one there. So that's what I was missing, just comping my hand roto in the right place. So I just need another DoD, and this one's a little bit more finished. I haven't got an unfinished version or a less finished version here. So what I've done here with these ones is done different areas for the different parts of the book. Thank you very much. Then piped those in with a black and white into a math composite, so they can get the texture of the book and get all of the shading of the book without actually having to do any hard work. Because if I can get all of that stuff for free, then that's what I want to do. And then at the very end, just pipe that back in where it needs to go. And so I end up with all of the, all the nice shadows and things without having to actually put those in myself. Cool. So that's a lot of stuff. If I move over here, we can see even more stuff. We've gone through the new concept of the surface, domain of definition, and again how we can use Mocha and Mocha tracking data to really drive a lot of the other work. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing in Silhouette is driven by Mocha data in one way or another. Even if I'm not going into Mocha Pro, I'm using the Mocha tracker that's built directly into the rotor nodes to help to get the sort of the main work done for me, so that I can then focus on just the small details going in there. And then after we've got all of that built in, I've got the advantage now of coming in with all of the silhouette nodes, which we'll look at in the next section. Things like ultra glow, color fuse, film effect. We can pipe those all in in the same tree and end up with something that's a little bit more finished. Let's come up to here. Let's show the finished shot one more time. I'll render that through while I pass this back again to Ross to see if we've got any questions. I know we're having to motor through this, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, Ben. First of all, very nice crash recovery. It's always fun in these live events. We've all been there. We've all done that. That was pretty quick. You got back right on your feet very impressively. There were a couple things came up in the chat as you're going. One thing was very timely. There were some questions about the DoD node and how you can now pipe tracking into the DoD node, and using the DoD node versus using the DoD in the viewer. I think you actually showed that quite well. There's a couple questions that were open at the bottom of the chat here. I'm not going to try to pronounce your name, Arcelio. Someone's asking, for a scene like this, how much is auto tracked and how much are you doing manually? For like a intense roto scene.
I mean, a lot of this was if I have a little look, I can actually just show you. That's probably the easiest way. I'll just take a little look at the timeline. Any place where there is lots of keyframes, that's been hand sort of animated. A lot of these, some of this actually would give a bit more of a it doesn't give the sort of full impression of actually what's going on, because a lot of these little keyframes, there may be just tiny pixel tweaks. So something like the bag here, this is probably a bit more typical, where you've got most of this stuff is being handled kind of sort of with the tracking data, and then you're sort of coming in and then just adding into it just to get everything nicely pixel perfect. If it was something with a bit more a bit more sort of motion blur or something, we didn't have to be as accurate, then I would absolutely expect a lot fewer keyframes on here. I mean, I've got some other big roto shots that we can have a little look at, which would show some of this. But the book itself, because of the way that it's moving, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense because it's got that horrible combination of speed and motion blur that you've got to kind of contend with. So a lot of this is it's just getting in and doing the work. It's manual stuff, but because you have things like the way of transforming all of this, doing the shape transforms, you're not having to go in and do, every single point every single time. You're just sort of coming in and making the the big the gross movements that are moving through, and that does speed things up a lot. This is not an easy shot. I'm just gonna, I'll put this out there straight away. Anyone, it's it's not the most complex of shots, but it's surprisingly, it has some surprising trickiness to it.
Sure. There's the lighting shifts on the book, the perspective, lots of motion
Yeah,
blur. But that's I think you answered that question really well. And just from my perspective, just to share, so I think earlier in the chat, someone had asked, what's the difference or advantages of Silhouette over Mocha. And I actually think that some of this, like when you're showing the dope sheet, when you're showing multiple layers, many layers and linked objects inside of Silhouette, I think that's where you start seeing the real advantages of you using Silhouette for advanced rotoscoping. I mean,
yeah,
Mocha, people use it for rotoscoping; they certainly do. But when you're getting into 50 layers or these kind of things, or much where you need more control over keyframes, that's definitely some of the areas where Silhouette starts shining.
yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I agree. And a lot of the like I said before, the conversation between Mocha and Silhouette is really really simple and straightforward now. So a lot of the tough stuff, I mean, for the book insert is 100% Mocha, and that same tracking data can drive, I'd say, 98% of the work you need to do on the book roto itself. There's just once you do your work one place, you're not having to redo that to kind of get a similar result. It's all about tracking once and then using that track in multiple different ways, I think, just to keep things moving fast.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one other quick question, and then I think it might be fun to give a prize out right after
I
this.
I,
But
I think so too. Yeah.
the if you keep your project open just for one last second,
Yep.
someone was asking
Yeah.
how you can show multiple viewers.
Oh yes.
Show like if you want to look at a Rotonode viewer and also look at your output viewer. Yeah,
Yeah. It's a case of just, yeah, you can come in and then just sort of dock this wherever wherever you want to, and any of these viewers, you can be looking at any node basically. So if I come in, let's find well, there's the roto node there. So if I find the roto node, move that back and forward, that's going to be showing me what's actually happening. And as it sort of disappears out, you can see, maybe, hopefully, the merest glimpse of the book that is still there somewhere. And that's a nice way of taking a little look at this, and we can see basically any any of the regular viewers that you can, or any of the regular views, so we can do channel views up here as well if we need to.
definitely. I
So
think
that's
the
a yeah.
all the views really strong features, having multiple viewers and being able to look through all the nodes, and then of course the advanced stuff of looking at the detail separation. There's so much cool stuff with Silhouette's viewers, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. And if there's things that were brought in a couple of versions ago as well. So if we, and let's just bring this in here. So I'll get rid of this one here and come back into my roto. There go, lovely. So like, we're looking at the output of this because we've got a lot of motion blur and lots of layers. Sometimes Silhouette can, it starts to, because we're calculating motion blurs on hundreds of layers. If I turn this to foreground, we're working a lot faster, but we're not seeing the calculated output. So we have things like the roto overlay that we can do, so we can see things like the motion path, how motion blur is working, and how onion skin's working, across different layers. So here let's just zoom in over here. We can see an onion skin and the motion path of this particular finger. And if I turn on the motion blur, do I have motion blur turned on this layer? I believe I do. Yeah, I do. So if this exhibited, oh, there we go. We can actually see that. I'm going to zoom in. Maybe use the shape layer there. You can see that we have the hard edge of the finger, but we also have this dotted edge that's showing us the motion blur as well. So that's a really nice way of checking to make sure that your edges are working properly with the motion blur that we've been given, without having to wait for hundreds of layers of motion blur to calculate.
Yeah, these are really cool features that we're kind of showing, and it's like with Silhouette, you kind of peel back the onion, or you're getting deeper, and you can sort of see the level of feature detail over the years. In my experience working with Paul and Marco in the last couple of years, it's pretty amazing just how responsive they are to talking to users and adding new features that are really specific for Roto and tracking and for paint. And, some of these advanced features, if you're doing tons of Roto, it's just massive time savings.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is that, that artist being responsive to the artist that's helped push Silhouette as far as it has. It's 17 years old now, and there's a huge, really, really deep feature set in there, and lots of new stuff coming all the time that's being driven by artists who are using it day in, day out, and sort of having to see any sort of small hiccup that makes you click another couple of times. You have to do that action several hundreds of times a day. That's hundreds of extra clicks that you have to do. So there are new tools that are put in designed to reduce the amount of actual legwork or mouse work that you have to do throughout the day. And that's just, it does add up. It adds up over the day, definitely adds up over the course of a project.
Yeah, and this is the reality that we're living in too, with the amount of visual effects, shows that are on television right now, and even hearing about virtual productions, the amount of roto that goes into some of these kinds of projects. Being able to deliver accurate, fast roto is just a huge part of the industry, and I like, again, I kind of sort of say this unsung part of the industry. So I get a lot of credit to all the roto artists that are out there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
So what do you think, Ben? Prize time?
Should we make someone happy, like an aspiring roto artist, or maybe a current roto artist? Let's give away a copy of Silhouette. Here we go. So, do you want to do this, Ross? I've been talking for a long time. Let's have another voice in it.
Okay, I hope I'm not going to screw this one up, because you're looking. Okay, no, wait, where's okay, Rajan Phillips, congratulations, you have won an annual subscription to Silhouette.
Hey, congratulations, Rajan. Well done. We will be in contact with you about how to claim your prize in the next 24 hours. That's one of the advantages of going over to boriseffectslive.com, entering your name and email address down in that little box at the bottom to enter our prize giving. We know where you are. We know how to find you very, very easily to give you stuff, not to do anything nasty. We want to give you free stuff. And there is still time. There is still time to join today's giveaway. And we have one more prize coming up a little bit later, which is the Boris FX Suite, an annual subscription to everything that we make, including Silhouette and Sapphire and Continuum, and of course, Mocha Pro and Optics. So that is going away to one lucky winner today. So if you haven't done so already, head on over to boriseffectslive.com, enter your details. Full terms and conditions are available on the website. If you're watching on YouTube, Could you do me a little favor if you haven't done so already? Just click that little thumbs up button if you are enjoying the stream so far. If you're not watching on YouTube and you're watching it on borisfxlive.com, then you're good. You don't have to disappear over to YouTube for a moment to click the little thumbs up button. You can just stay where you are and feel happy that I'm not going to cry tonight. All right. And Brian is showing the website where, of course, you can have a little look for more details about Silhouette and even download a free trial as well, which is the nice big blue button at the top of the page. Thank you very much. Yeah, we've got lots of details about Silhouette, and if you want to learn more about it, you can come over to the training area of the Boris FX website, where we have lots of Silhouette focused training, plus something that is a bit more fun and focused, which is the complex wire removal series with Silhouette and Mocha, presented by yours truly. So that's a lot of fun. But we also have other videos that go through some of the other new features as well. So that's all on borisfxlive.com. Training, I don't know how many hours, many hours, tens of hours of free tutorials for Mocha and Silhouette there. So lots of
Great
good
stuff, Ben. Great stuff. That wire removal series was highly requested for a long time. Users were always asking for how to solve, like, when a wire goes across someone's face and how to remove it. So it's a really good one.
It's a really fun shot as well, because it lets me talk about lots of different techniques and strategies for dealing with different problems and sort of, well, actually one of the things that someone was talking about in the chat earlier, which I wrote down, was regarding paint and how to get nice consistent paint throughout the frames, where you don't want sort of chattering paint. We talk about that a lot in that series as well, because of course, as soon as the paint starts to chatter, you've given the game away that you're doing something. We don't want that. So we talk about that quite a bit.
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, shall we head back and have a look at another shot? Let's see if I can cut back here. I'm actually going to do, I've got a couple of other shots that I want to do. I'm going to do this one quite quickly because I've just seen that time keeps on ticking. And what I want to do with this one is, again, I want to show you how sort of versatile that sort of that move between Mocha and Silhouette is. And I also want to show like one of the new features that we have in Silhouette, one of the new nodes we have in Silhouette, which is in paint. We'll see this a couple of times actually in the next couple of shots. But let's just play this through here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. This is like a fairly straightforward screen insert, but we have some tracker markers that have been put in on the phone, ostensibly to actually make it easier to track. But actually, in this case, I think those tracker markers are probably unnecessary and just give us a little bit more work to do. So we're going to be cleaning this up a little bit. I've just seen that some people have been smashing the like button. I'm very happy to be able to say the phrase "smash the like button." Thank you very much. It warms my heart. But I'm going to come in and focus. I'm going to add in a Mocha Pro node here. Actually, do I need to do this even in here? I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to. No, I refuse to. Because what I'm going to do instead is actually just use a regular Silhouette tracker node. So I want to show you how we don't actually have to go into Mocha Pro to harness the Mocha Pro power. Let's zoom in a little bit here and give myself a little bit more space. Okay, so we're going to come in and we're going to track this phone in. I'm going to do a couple of smaller shapes here rather than try and do everything with one big shape. And the reason for that is, it's actually going to be easier to get a better track off of this with a couple of smaller shapes, I think. So I'm going to come in and let's just do that. And I'm not just using the like a regular X-spline to come in. I'm just going to take in some of the screen, but not a lot of the screen. And the reason I don't want to take in a lot of the screen is because it's all really highly reflective. And highly reflective stuff is not really fun to track. It sort of throws things off quite a bit. So we'll just set this up a little bit. And the fact that these fingers aren't moving, I think she holds her hand pretty still. So I think I'm going to be happy with what we get out of this. And speaking of holding her hand pretty still, I might even take in, let's just use a circle here. I might even come in and take in a little bit of this thumb as well. Again, not so much of the screen, but a little bit of the thumb. So I can come in, I can come to my tracker now, and we can sort of just plump these into a layer. So just dump these in here, and with the layer selected, in fact with everything selected here, let's just track all of this forward. So I'm going to track perspective in as well. I think this should actually work out all right. There we go. Excellent. And if we have a little look here at the layer, seems to have done some nice tracking, but of course we don't want to just trust what's happening here. I'm going to come in and look at the stabilizer and just stabilize around that layer. And if everything's happy, then the screen itself should remain absolutely static. We're not going to be able to completely get rid of the motion blur, but everything else is just nice and rock solid there. So I know I've got a good track in here. Let's turn off that. I might as well actually come in while I'm here, come in and sort of set up the surface as well. Why not? We're in the right place. Boom, boom, boom. So, get all the jobs done that you need. Very loosey-goosey. Very loosey-goosey. That's going to be fine, though. Okay, so let's put my tracker over here. Place that around there. And then what I'll do is I'm going to add in another node. And the node I'm going to use is one of our new nodes, which is inside of... actually, it's not inside of Silhouette, is it? I don't have to remember where it is. Do you know why? Another new feature. If I hit tab...
You read my mind, Ben. You read my mind.
Hey, it's almost as if I planned to do that all along. Almost. And you just hit tab and it brings up a little search and you can search in whatever node you want to put in there. So InPaint is in here. Thank you very much. So what I can do with InPaint works like a actually, if we have a look at the tools over here, it looks like it's the same tools as the rotor node, and coincidentally as the tracker node. And that's probably because it is. We have this sort of commonality of tool sets between between various nodes. So, you don't have to relearn tools each time you come across an analogous tool set. So what I can do here is I can actually just copy that layer from my tracker and paste it into the InPaint. And because they share that same commonality of tools, I can happily copy and paste between layers. Let's get rid of those shapes though. Let's have a little look at what InPaint does. So InPaint is a way of automatically cleaning up certain areas of the image. So this can be really good for removing tracker markers, like we're going to do here. Thank you very much. Or for coming in and cleaning up sort of blemishes or wrinkles on clothes. That's another fun one. So all I have to do is just draw my shapes over the top of the area that we want to get rid of, and they will disappear. In fact, they won't really disappear. What's happening is it's drawing the pixels in from the surrounding pixels and painting in Paint. So the interesting thing about this, and I've got my six things here. Actually, let's just play that back so you can see what's happening. And so they should be, have gotten rid of the tracking markers throughout the whole area. Now, the interesting thing about the Silhouette solution is that these are all individual shapes, and as such, if I bring up my my parameters over here, we can come in and we can change how it's doing the InPaint on individual shapes or across all shapes. I'm going to zoom in on one of these, and we can sort of change the softness up, change the edge softness, and because I've got all of them selected, all of these are going to be being changed at the same rate. We can even do things like stretching and change the offset angle. We have different algorithms to use, and even just doing straight up cloning as well if you don't want to use the InPaint algorithms. So we can just do straight up cloning here.
Ben, I was just saying in the chat, and I'll just say it, verbalize it with you. For me, this is just a massive feature. For me, I love Silhouette's paint, but when I learned as a compositor to do, removing this kind of stuff, I would tend to do it with shape-based layers. And I personally just love that you can have as many layers in the one node, and each layer has its own fill. It's just, it's very contained and fast.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that we've got we can have a look at sort of problem shapes as well. So we got this one, which because let's actually just stabilize out the viewer. This is a very good time to be stabilizing out the viewer. Because we've got the reflection that goes over here at certain points, we're not getting an exactly clean image on this particular shape. So it could be that coming into just one of these little points and changing this up could be enough to actually get the result that we need, or even just if we have to change up the shape a little bit there, or change this into a clone. If this is going to be a like a clone area, we could just do a sort of very, very quick offset over there, just on that particular area, maybe sort of soften it up a little bit, but you get the idea of what's going on there. There's a huge amount of flexibility to this, and we can really sort of come in and actually do quite a lot of work, or actually come quite far with the shot without doing a lot of work. I think that's probably a better way of saying it. Just doing sort of small touch-up stuff becomes a lot easier and a lot less of a headache. And the fact that we do have all of this information we can copy and paste between different nodes, it means we don't have to double up on work again. It's that working in a clever way is always going to be the best strategy. Just track once, use it many times. You've got your shapes, use those as many times as you can as well. You know, that's the beauty of this workflow, this nodal based workflow as well. You know, there's nothing that's sort of constraining us to just doing things in one particular way. We can be a bit sort of you know, be a bit sort of creative with it. I'm going to move to another shot because we do be getting older. There we go. And I know that this was going to be our first live stream that was going to be a tight 60. We're 90 minutes into it, so we're doing all right. We're doing all right.
Maybe next time. maybe next
time. I don't know. We'll see. I promise nothing, bro.
Highly unlikely. No, this is in all honesty, Ben. This is great stuff. Definitely a lot of chock full information, and I can't imagine doing this any quicker. So good job.
Good. I mean, this is the thing. I've been talking about Silhouette since 2008, 2009, and I still haven't run out of things to say. You know, there's still a lot to it. Still a lot to it. I do love it. And there keeps adding new things. How am I meant to stop talking about it when people keep adding new things to it? I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to come in while we're sort of just chatting away here. I just want to show another link with our data port, and I want to sort of tie that back into Silhouette as well, into Sapphire as well. I mean, so we've seen the the yellow data port a few times now in the last 90 minutes. I just want to draw your attention to just the sheer number of nodes that we now have as part of Silhouette. And I just also want to draw your attention to the number of nodes that now have a yellow data input. Like some of these have had data inputs, like things like the actually I can't even find one that's had the data input before. But some of these have had data input previously, but now we have a lot more that have that nice yellow input. You'll also notice that we have a Sapphire category, which is the only reasonable way that we have of actually putting in all of the Sapphire nodes, because it's a huge amount of effects that we have here. We don't have time to go through all of these. I hardly have time to go through all the Silhouette. So I'm just going to pick a couple of my my favorites. There we go. And one of those is obviously going to be Lens Flare. And the reason I choose Lens Flare is because it has this little yellow input. So I can take my track from my tracker, take that data and just plug it into Lens Flare. I'm going to load up a preset, Lens Flare preset, just to show you, now that you have Sapphire available to you, you don't just have the how many Sapphire plugins is it now, Brian? I do forget.
I think there's over 270 plugins, Sapphire plugins, right?
280 plus is my line, which probably would mean 281. Hey.
All right, so we only have 280, but that also means that there are thousands of presets to go with it. Even things like the lens flares. You can hear me wax lyrical about lens flares in other tutorials, or sorry, I've got quite a lot of tutorials talking about lens flares because they are a huge passion of mine, and the amount of time I've spent looking at lenses and looking at flares is not something we'll talk about right now. But one of the things that we will talk about right now is this thing here. Like on parameters where we can bring in like transform data, we have a little we have a little drop down menu, and I can bring in any of that tracking data that I've come in through my tracker. So if I just bring this up over here, up into, you know, where the light was, just bring that in there. That's basically all I have to do is then just hit play, and that's now going to follow along with the transform that we had from the tracker. And that's really it. You know, this is this opens up, you know, a ton of new opportunities and options for us as we work through this. You know, Silhouette has been able to use the tracking data in, you know, particular nodes for a long time, but now being able to open this up to, you know, not just Silhouette native nodes, but also the Sapphire nodes as well. You know, it's just a thing of beauty to see. Sapphire's also had like Mocha built into it, but if we wanted to sort of reuse transform data or tracking data, if we wanted to use the built-in Mocha, obviously that would necessitate us saving out data, bringing it back in, blah 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 blah. Why bother doing that when you can literally just connect a node you've already got? Job done. Easy, easy, easy. While I'm in here, actually, just like the final little thing, as we're working down this tree, I just want to come back into InPaint. I want to show something that we didn't talk about previously. The fact that we can build up paint as well is something that is let's come over here and see if we can actually see this tattoo. Yeah, so we can actually build up layers. So, you know, the red spline is getting processed out, and then we have the blue one over the top of that, and that's then also helping to smooth out any of those nasty edges that we were getting from building up over the red spline. So, you know, this is another way of using InPaint that I think is quite interesting. We will skip grain management and we'll save that for another day, because I want to come in. I want to talk about one final node, and this is you know, one of my favorites with Sapphire, and this came in Sapphire 2022. This is Color Fuse, and Color Fuse is just a way of coming in and giving it that final color look. It's a way of sort of a cross-host way of letting us share LUTs and sort of mix LUTs together. We have, if I just click on these here, like it ships with a good number of LUTs straight away. Let's just bring that there. So these are the ones it already ships with. You can also mix them together, and we have like over 80 presets as well to start off from. But you know, you can bring in your own ones as well, and that's all saved directly within the plugin. So that means that if we are taking this out to somewhere else, or you know, a different department has actually got a you know, a temporary grade in mind for us, then we can have this Color Fuse node and be sharing that not just you know, across platforms, but across hosts as well. And so we know we're always going to be looking at the same thing. We can always come in and tweak stuff up just with a you know, just with a scroll wheel, because we don't have bars anymore. We just got our numbers that we can scrub in. I call it a scroll wheel because it's neither a wheel nor are we scrolling in it. It's what's it called? Numerical input, scrubbable numerical input. Let's call it that for now. So yeah, that's you know, that's a very, very quick look at some of the stuff that we can do with the new Silhouette. We haven't, you know, touched a lot of the stuff that that it can do as well in terms of paint and auto paint. So we're, you know, we're really kind of just coming in and sort of seeing the very, very surface areas that we can do here. I haven't even touched PI. I haven't even touched particle illusion.
Haven't touched PI yet. It's quite. It's there's really, I don't know. Yeah, beauty work or Magic Sharp. Just to mention too, Ben, there's even things like for people who've been using Silhouette in studios for years. There's improvements to scripting in this release. There's improvements to stereo roto with magnetic splines for stereo. There's lots of sort of deep, you know, deep features that for the hardcore Silhouette users that you'll get a lot out of this release. And yeah, there's just so much barely, you know, show it in one or two seatings. But I can personally just encourage everyone to you know, download the trial, check out the training. A lot of it done by you, of course. And of
course,
yeah, but great stuff, Ben. You know, really, really impressive, and you know, hats off to you.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's oh, hang on.
Okay, as Brian fixes the switcher there.
I think Ben may have absolutely just killed his stream when he went to switch.
Oh, nice.
So good timing. Good timing.
Good timing.
So if he comes back. But while we're waiting, why don't we give away our last prize, which is the Boris FX Suite. Oh, here he is. Here he is.
Oh, it's done.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ben, did you just kill your own stream?
I did. I did. And if you've got a problem with that, then I don't know what it's talking about.
I don't. Only because that was such a great presentation. Well, I let you slide this time.
Thank you.
Let's give away the suite. We've made people wait.
Yes, please.
90 minutes. All right. Let me find our sound effect here.
No, we've let people enjoy us for 90 minutes.
Exactly.
And now they get the enjoyment of the suite.
100%.
Over to you, Ross. Here we go.
Okay. Well, Ben, actually, can you pronounce this Samuel's last name? I wish I could pronounce it.
Mfananga.
Yeah. There you go.
Mfananga. Thank you very much. Well, congratulations, Sam.
Congratulations, Sam. Nice work. What did he win, Ben?
You did.
What did he win?
Do you know what he won? He won it all. He got the big potato. Oh no, hang on, that's New York. He won the Boris FX Suite, which is everything that we make, including Silhouette, Sapphire, Continuum, Mocha Pro, and Optics, of course. So congratulations on that. It's an annual subscription. We'll be in touch very shortly to let you know how to claim your prize, of course. And thank you to everyone who didn't win, because you know, everyone here is you know, it's kind of a winner in my mind, because we got to hang out together a little bit today. We're also going to be back next week, actually, with some what are we doing? Continuum next week, is it not?
Yes, sir.
So more chances to win some Continuum.
Yeah, next week. So next Wednesday at 2:00, we will be looking at Continuum 2022.5 with our friend Nick Haraz and Ian Robinson from Creative 111. And I believe Peter McCauley is going to join us live too, along with you, Ben. So we're going to check out all the new features in Continuum. I don't think I can get rid of you if I tried. Continuum 2022.5, which just released yesterday. So actually, if I bring it up on the website, if I could. I have too many windows open now. Let's see. Possibly.
I mean, I could kill my feed again if you wanted to.
At this point, anything goes.
Some great new features, though, coming, you know, that just came out with Continuum. Yeah, including massive particle illusion update, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
huge.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, head on over to the Boris FX website. It's up on the homepage as well. New Continuum 2022.5 dropped this week. Nick's got a great video. Ben's got John Dickinson has a great video breaking down the new features in PI as well. So check that out and come hang out with us next Wednesday at 2:00 Eastern Standard Time.
Exactly. If you didn't catch all of this stream, we will be replaying it in the very, very near future. So you'll have a chance to watch it at your leisure. So don't worry about that. We put all of the past streams up for people to watch. If you can't find them on YouTube, always head over to boriseffects.com and have a little look on our training side there. Any final words from you, Ross?
Well, it was a great presentation, Ben. Always impressive that you have a lot of skills, and I think everyone appreciates you sharing all those skills. Hopefully, everyone who's joined in sort of sees what we're doing behind the scenes at Boris FX. We're over the years we've basically have our products have grown, but they're also talking to each other much better than you've ever seen it before. So I think, especially with the Silhouette release, where you have integrated tracking in Mocha and Particles and Sapphire and all the data connections, you can sort of see behind the scenes that we're doing quite a lot in development to bring it all together. And I think you'll just continue seeing some more great things in the future. So I appreciate everyone for watching.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if you haven't done so already, grab a free trial version of Silhouette to take it for a spin yourself. But yeah, thanks very much, Ross, for joining me today and helping me out. I desperately needed it. And thank you very much to everyone for watching today as well. Join us again next week for another Boris FX Live. But until then, I will see you very soon. Bye for now.